Welcome, everyone. It's so nice to see everybody in person again. Oh my gosh, this is great. It's been a really long time, and thanks everybody for coming that's used to being on screens, and thanks Kelly for joining us. I really appreciate it. It's like summertime for you and kind of ridiculous that we're asking you to come in July, but things were so busy in June, so I'm really appreciative that you were able to join us.
Of course.
Just to continue, what we had tried to start in the spring to maintain better contact with what's going on in the District 2 and also with the CEC. And I think if we can keep that going, it would be really helpful, especially in this super time of transition. Rosie, you can, oh, there you are. And I do have I have the results of the high school admissions, but I thought what I could do is just let you tell us, give us an update on things in District 2, anything new coming our way for fall. Just share whatever you feel as though it would be helpful for us to know.
Sure. Yeah, no, thanks so much. And so I will say, Kelly McGuire, I'm the superintendent in District 2 of public education for 2.5 years and was a principal just down the block for 14 years at Lower Community. We are in the middle of Summer Rising, as many people know, serving just under 2,500 kids in Summer Rising across the city, a half-day academic program partnered with community-based organizations to do a full-day program. I visited almost all of the sites so far, and there are, in some places, there are large numbers of kids. We've got a full rollout of all kids who signed up. In some schools, we are still waiting to get all of the kids signed up, all the kids into the building who had originally signed up for the program. We do think that by the end of this week, we will know whether or not we have additional seats available. So that we can offer more seats available for families who might be interested in Summer Rising. In thinking about accelerating to the fall and moving ahead to the fall, we've got a couple of things that are coming up that are really important in our district. We've got two primary curricular areas of focus. One of them is that we are continuing to build our foundational literacy program across the district. And the other is that we are implementing a new mathematics curriculum in our middle school. We're implementing two different mathematics curricula, both under the publisher of Illustrative Mathematics. But one of the curricula is a grade level curricula. The other one is for students who are working above grade level. And so we anticipate in our planning for our zone schools to be able to offer two different curricula within the schools, serving students who are both working at grade level, as well as students who are working above grade level in different classes in our zone schools. Our other smaller schools are making the decision based on what they think is best and most appropriate for their students as to whether or not they're going with the standard grade level curricula in mathematics or the accelerated curricula. So we have some full schools that are going with accelerated curricula based on the demographics and performance of students who are working in their building. This coming fall, we also are beginning to roll out the kindergarten through 5th grade for literacy curriculum. Chancellor Banks announced a couple of months ago the initiative New York City Leads. It's a program in which all districts, some for this coming fall, some for the following fall, will be adopting a core curriculum in grades K through 5. That core curriculum is meant as a complement to the current phonics-based foundational literacy programs that are happening in the early grades, primarily pre-K through 2nd grade. And so we have a team of principals, teachers, and other staff members that worked alongside our district team last spring to go and visit a bunch of different schools but we're using the three core curricular choices that were available to District 2. So we visited schools in Queens, in the Bronx, in Brooklyn, that had already been using some of these curricula. And we're beginning to narrow in on one curricula that we think would be most appropriate for the students who are in our district. That curricula is Wit and Wisdom, but we are going to continue to work with our principals, our advisory group, connect with our community education council this summer, and do a broader share with the community this coming fall before we have to make a final decision on which curriculum we think is going to be best for our district. So that's some changes in school leadership that are coming our way for the fall. One of our pre-K principals, Aisha Thurman Cosby, is moving back to North Carolina. And so we have nominated and she has passed the screening process at Central, Lindsay Jacobs as the interim acting principal for our pre-K program. Lindsay is a longtime administrator from the central office who's really viewed as an expert in pre-K curriculum and instruction and teaching. Terry Ryder has retired from Battery Park City School, PSIS 276. And we will miss Terry and all of her energy and enthusiasm that she brings and tough questions that she always asks me. And we have nominated for that position, Alexis Quirkus, who has served as an assistant principal at PSIS 276, and are awaiting her. David Getz has retired from Eastside Middle School, and 20 years, worked with David for a very long time, and just really respect all that he has done and been so creative with middle school age kids and provided a very student-centered experience at Eastside Middle School. We have nominated for the interim acting position at Eastside Middle School, a gentleman by the name of Jesse Kupferman. Jesse is coming from District 3, where he served as a middle school assistant principal for 10 years. And we really believe strongly in Jesse's curriculum and instruction background and feel great about his potential candidacy for interim acting principal at Eastside Middle School. And then finally, we have received word that Valerie Lake is departing 75 Morton Middle School. We are waiting on a couple of, there are a couple of things that are playing out over the next week to 10 days. At 75 Morton before we can announce an interim acting principal for that school. But Valerie has worked very, very hard at 75 Morton. The school is currently serving, or at the end of the school year, the school is serving about 100 kids from families seeking asylum in our country. So the school has undergone, even in just the short amount of time that she and principal of 75 Morton, the school's undergone quite a bit of change. So we very much appreciate her. The chancellor's regulations in regards to these positions does require that I, as superintendent, nominate someone as interim acting. The day that the principal will leave, so that there is always a principal in the school and assigned to the building. But then probably begin work with the school SLT and the broader community to initiate the actual interview process for each of these positions within the district. The last thing that I'll say, but there's much more happening, but the last thing I will say before just being open to questions that you'd like to ask them is that as many of you know, we have been serving a large number of students from families seeking asylum in our country. Our district is a district that has been serving more than many other districts, not necessarily the most in the city, but we have been serving a lot of kids in grades 3K to 8. Those are the ones that I'm responsible for. There are some kids who are in high schools as well. The number that we think that is around is somewhere around 1,500 probably across our district. Throughout the school year, this past school year, we saw some kind of ebbs and flows of enrollment. We saw some periods where we were enrolling hundreds in a week, and then some periods where we were only enrolling maybe 10. We do know that a new shelter has opened on the Upper East Side, and we anticipate that some students will be coming from that shelter into some of our schools on the Upper East Side. But we don't know the ages or which schools will be primarily affected, although that shelter is zoned for, yes, 198 is the zone school for that's affiliated with that shelter. So, so heading into the fall, what we are doing is working with principals right now to make sure that they are staffed up with bilingual staff, all the ENL staff that they need, that they have materials in the building. We are currently applying for a new grant of up to $1 million to serve and support families, children and families seeking asylum. And we anticipate that we will get that. We feel strongly that we're good candidates for it. And right now, the kind of bones of the grant, which are due on Friday, are being developed with a small team from our schools to provide both mental health supports for kids, ENL services for families, partnerships with community-based organizations for both during the school day and after school, transportation needs also for families. So this is just kind of like the beginning and preliminary rollout of our application for this grant. But we anticipate that once we get it, and we are thinking optimistically that we will get it, that we will be able to make some tweaks and adjustments based on what each school needs in order to serve those families well. So I'll stop with that and happy to take any questions or.
Andrew?
I want to go first. Good. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you. I don't think we've spoken in about a year, right?
Last time I saw you were melting on the boardwalk.
One walk over at.
Right down by 234.
Yeah. So
1,000 degrees outside.
I want to go over a few things. And I'm glad you're here because I prepared some stuff. So you said we're doing about 1,200 kids summarizing. You say the footprint of the district is 2,500. So we got about half of your, I think half of that footprint at 89, the middle at Baruch, yeah, and sorry, I forget.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
and 276. And, 276 a large footprint of 400 children. Just for the community board, there are about 400 kids enrolled there. And 113 children live in Community Board 1. 10038, 10013. I ran the numbers before we got here. So most of those kids, and a lot of those kids are being bussed in. And Terry and I and Moises are, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a real challenge because we don't know the kids. We weren't given any. Moises, my after-school director, who's in charge of budgets, is also down there every day translating Spanish. So I hope the grant at some point gives after-school. We did it at Morton. We hired some Spanish-speaking folks, but we don't have enough Spanish-speaking folks in after-school. And I think that is my report on summarizing and our needs in after school. If we're plugging away, and it's always a challenge when the DOE registers and the DYCD registers and the community-based organizations register. It's too many cooks in the digital kitchen, and I've spoken about it. Our increased costs are obviously, which I've spoken to you about, is compliance. The DOH PET system doesn't work. It freezes. It's hard, and we're responsible for complying with DOH and DOE clearances. So that's my, that's my thing and what keeps me going, and I'm happy to keep going.
So a couple of questions on the at grade level and at grade level. So apologies if I missed it. Now, what age groups will that apply? Middle school, okay. Are there thoughts as to how that will impact the placement or intake process? That's part of one of my questions. Two, presumably the ratios will change from year to year, and how will the schools be able to respond to that?
That's a great question. So at the start of last year, the chancellor tasked all community superintendents with putting together a proposal for, I don't know, is there a best way to point myself, or is it? It's okay.
Either way,
All right. I don't have to look at
this thing goes all the
Okay,
way.
all right. Yeah, at the end of beginning of the year last year, the chancellor tasked all community superintendents with putting together an admissions plan. It was a very short timeline, just about 2.5 weeks. We had to really consider whether or not we were putting into place any programs for of any kind for middle school. This was primarily, but it was only for middle school. And so one of the things that we wanted, one of the things that we put into place was that we indicated that all students who were applying to middle school who had achieved a course grade in fourth grade, average of level 4 in mathematics, had access to this accelerated program. And the reasoning behind that really was that we wanted to put forth a point that did offer an accelerated program for students who are already working at grade level. Two, that we wanted it to be easy for parents and families to understand. Three, we wanted to accommodate as many families as and children that needed to be accommodated through this program. So families could look at their child's report card and know whether or not their child would qualify for this accelerated program because they know who their kid got in fourth grade. And then it was our responsibility as a district and as middle school leaders to program the appropriate number of kids that fit that criteria that were offered a seat for school. So that could flex and adjust from year to year depending on how many kids applied and entered. So we had a similar process in place that we piloted at our two biggest middle schools, Wagner Middle School and Blue Middle School. And so the kids who entered last year, kids entered into two different programs at Wagner and Baruch. They entered into an accelerated program or a regular standard general education program. And then another school that was a part of this also was Lab Middle School. But Lab Middle School decided, the leadership there decided that all of the students in the school would participate in the accelerated program. So last year was really a process of learning this curriculum, figuring out mechanically how it is that we would go about programming kids into these two different courses, and then really evaluating and looking at the results. Some very preliminary data that we have back so far from our screener programs, not the state exam, but as the iReady screener assessments, have really shown that a large number of kids have performed well on that assessment. What we will be really curious about is to see if students, if that correlated with their state exam scores. And we'll also be curious to see how kids entering sixth grade last year, who maybe did not score a level 4 on the state exam, but did qualify for the program because they scored a level 4 in their coursework, did participate in this accelerated program really accelerate their performance on the state exam. So again, we're looking to expand this into several other schools in the coming year. But we're also looking at how it is that we facilitate and conduct this accelerated programs in middle school. The Chancellor has access every year to take a step back, talk about middle school admissions with the community, decide whether you feel like what you have in place is good to go for the coming year, or whether or not we do need to make changes.
Thank you. It's fine. Hey, how you doing? To follow up on the question of middle school, because a lot of people talk to me and parents, fifth graders, what everybody expresses concern. People talk about how they applied for middle school and they didn't get their top choices, down to 7th, 8th, choice. So is this accelerated program that you're talking about, that's only in math, correct?
That is just in math, except for that in some schools, then, or in all middle schools, we do have an accelerated program in 8th grade for biology and as well as.
So, but is that like in every middle school, or like if your child gets their 7th choice or 8th choice, they, well, they can have this accelerated program in math, whatever school they believe in? Or is that just in some schools?
We have, along with our, this policy, the two-tier policy or two-course policy in 6th grade, we have also committed to ensuring that in every single middle school, there is access to biology regions and math regions. I will say, as like a real quick aside, is that close to 85% of kids in this current round received an offer to one of their top 3 choices. Close to 95% of kids received an offer to one of their top 5 choices. I know that things may change from year to year depending on how many kids are in the system, but the numbers of the percentages of kids who are getting into one of their top choices.
Well, I'm smiling because you only hear from the ones.
Yeah.
The happy ones are
Yeah.
quietly happy. So, okay, but the accelerated math program, that is only going to be in some select schools.
They are present at all of our zones.
Zones.
So again, we're trying to demystify a little bit the process of application, where a parent might say like, they don't want to. I mean, I've gone through this for a bunch of years as a principal, and also a parent myself, going through this. We're trying to like take the rolling of the dice out of it. If you want an accelerated program, every single child has access to one of their zone schools. We have this accelerated program in every single one of our zone schools. So if a child qualifies and a parent wants that for their child, they have guaranteed access to it because they do have access to their zone school no matter what.
So if you have a child in 4th grade applying for middle school, you guarantee you can go to one of the zone schools, no matter how you come out.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, and the other question I have, in terms of the literacy curriculum, so you're still in the process of deciding on which curriculum. Are the individual schools going to have a choice, or is it going to be something that's complete district-wide, every school has to do?
It's a district-wide choice. So there will be 32 choices across the district, or across the city with the 32 districts. It is difficult to decide on one that is really going to be the best, but we did, really utilize this spring, I think, as an opportunity to engage and try to show everybody as much as we could.
And in terms of resources for training teachers, I mean, we need more resources. I probably always need more resources.
Yeah.
Money from the state.
Yeah, well, in regard to this reading program in particular, so there are some districts that are starting this fall. Our district won't start until the following fall. This fall, the districts that are implementing the new curriculum we are hearing that we're going to get the same complement of services those districts are getting. And so it sounds pretty great. It is certainly release time for teachers and principals to study and find the curriculum. They're partnering with a bunch of different professional development organizations from around the country to send folks directly into schools to provide that support. So, time will tell, but the initial rollout seems very supportive and comprehensive. And but now we have like a team of 16 districts going into it this fall, and so we'll.
I know if you need more people advocate.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
I'd also like to, go ahead, Rosa. No, I wanted to just, I reached out to our middle schools to see how the high school acceptances went this year. And every single one of the schools said it was infinitely better. So I want to just, say thank you.
Thanks to
think-
parents,
Well, I also think that the counselors did a great job, because one of the things I noticed that was really impressive is that they did what we asked them to do actually in our resolution the year before last, which is to take the time to introduce the parents through fairs and other means to the schools they were, inadvertently just sent the kids to that first year that they had never heard of, that weren't on their list. And it seems to me, looking at this, that's exactly what they did. We had in the top 3 schools at IS 289 was the School of Environmental Studies. This is a school nobody knew about down here. And 276 sent me their list. I'm just going to hold it up. These were the schools with main round helpers. I don't think any of our schools have ever had a list that looks like that. So that was impressive to me as well, that these were on the lists of our 8th graders this year. So the percentages were higher. There's still a little, there were still kids that weren't matched, but we had an average of 90, it looks to me about 94% matched with the school in their list. This is up from like 79%. So that also really said something to me. There is some variation in terms of the percentages that were matched to top 3 and top 5. But what I realize is that has to do with where the kids are applying to, whether or not, what that list looks like. But I just want to say that it was as high as 57% in their top 3 choices. So to me, that's just, it shows that something is working in that system that they set out to do. And it was a combination of, the DOE's communication with our middle school counselors, and then our middle school counselors' communication with the families. But clearly something is moving in the right direction. So, and I heard that very few of our kids were turned away from school. So far we still have a little ways. Some people are still hanging out on that waiting list, but it's a much smaller percentage than last year. So wanted to pass along that good news.
Going in that direction.
Yes. I did have some questions that are more high school based, and I would love to hear from you. I know each of the schools has the complicated structure in high school. Is there anyone you could recommend to us to talk to about just overall setup that they have, like DIA and all these other like set asides and level 1, 2, 3, 4? Who would be the right person for us to connect with? Because we'd love to have them come in as well. Because it's a big question I got that I frankly don't even know at this point.
Yeah.
Who that person, we just dealt with our own high school superintendents,
Right.
and there's so many of them.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true. I do know that the enrollment and admissions office, Matt Rugini, has attended public meetings. He is someone who works directly with the chief academic or enrollment officer, Sarah Heinenberg. And I think that he would probably be happy to come. certainly also, connecting with Manhattan High School Superintendent Gary Beilman.
Yeah,
He doesn't cover all the high schools in Manhattan, but a large number, and could definitely upload some of those.
okay, good. That's super helpful. We will reach out. Thank you. Melissa?
Actually, it's to see too. So I'm going to touch on a wide range of things. Number one was, it was really interesting to hear that we're having so much change with our principals in our schools. And I just wanted to demystify that a little bit for everybody, that we had to actually go through that process at PS 150, and we worked closely with Kelly on that. And it was actually a wonderful process, and we were so thrilled with the principal that he selected for us. And we felt like the entire process that we went through, we were a little nervous, given that we were making this enormous change in the middle of COVID,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of school administration loss, that you held our hand through the entire process, that you found incredible candidates, and that most importantly, we felt like you actually listened to what the parents' priorities were in terms of what we valued in the school that we had and where we wanted to go in the future. So just for anybody listening from any of the other schools that are involved, I just wanted to say that we had an incredibly good experience there, and just if that's reassuring in any way.
Thanks for saying that.
It's true. And then because my child is not yet in middle school, and so I haven't had to go through any of that process, and I am one of those people who is mystified by the entire thing, and I had some trepidation because I just like Lauren expressed, there have been concerns raised to me about the whole lottery nature of it, and there is a certain flight from the families that I know who are concerned about that and are not willing to take that risk. And so they are leaving and going into other options. And a little bit more. Sure.
I mean, I think it is, when we say that every child has a lottery number, that is true, but that has always been true. That was true when all of our schools were heavily screened, and I mean, there are schools that get, I mean, I think Clinton Middle School had 2,000 kids applying to it this year. And Clinton Middle School, as we know, is our only 6 through 12 school that is in District 2, and kids in 8th grade have a priority for high school, and I think that that's part of the reason why that school is very attractive to families. That would have probably been the case had Clinton said that Clinton probably would have had an example of a school like Clinton. That probably would have been in place had Clinton said that in order to gain admission to this school, you had to have a state exam of 4 in both math and English, grade point average of 4, 0 attendance, 0 late. I mean, I'm going like way back now in the admissions process. There would be many, many more applicants than there would be seats actually in that school. And so then the lottery number would come into play. And who had the highest lottery number would be, and met those criteria, would be the students who entered into the school. So yes, a lottery number is still in play here, but families still get to rank their schools of their choice from top to bottom. And that weighs in very heavily in the process as well. So when we look at these numbers, near 85%, near 95% in the top 3, top 5, it is, I think it is reassuring that families, while they shouldn't put all of their eggs into it's either the top choice or my child is going to be devastated. There are many, many good choice schools, many, many great choices in our district in different geographic parts of the district that families should feel really confident attending. So, I began it last year, and intend to double down on it this year, in telling middle school principals that they need to start their school tours early. They need to hold school tours, not just at nighttime, when nobody is in the building in an auditorium, but during the school day. So when families can actually come in, we should be proud of what we're doing, open the doors, open the classrooms, see what's happening in the schools. So that I think is helpful in easing, parents' concerns, because they just hear something about a particular school but haven't necessarily seen it. The other thing that I think is will be helpful in this process is that we are moving towards this standardized math curriculum across all of our middle schools. We know that each school has their own, special celebrations and things that are really important to them, projects. Like, that doesn't mean that they can't do those, have those celebrations or do those projects. But having the same set of expectations across the schools is really, really important. And ensuring that our teachers are really well trained is really, really important as well. So, yeah, the lottery, I think, if it were just a straight lottery and the parent choice had nothing to do with it, that would be really scary, I guess. Because, even if you're just thinking about something like transportation, then you don't want to have to spend an hour meeting to go to school. But since parent request plays so heavily into this, I think that is.
How does parent request, or how does the ranking play in relation to the lottery?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, so, I don't want to mess up my stats here, but essentially, there is a certain number of seats that are available in a school. There's also historical data that tells us whether or not either all of those seats are filled, or kids, families who received an offer to that school actually show up, right? So you might have 132 seats available at Eastside Middle School, but you might make 150 offers because you know that there's a certain amount of attrition. So those 150 offers, it does go by, we take all of the students who have listed Eastside Middle School as their, for example, all of students who listed Eastside Middle School as their first choice. And then you go in rank order based on their lottery number. For those students with the highest lottery number and rank the school first are admitted into the school. And it kind of like continues on that through the next round of process. So that's where the lottery number is important, for sure. But it is not the sole determining factor as to whether or not a child enters into the school.
And when we talk about children that have not received an offer in any of the schools that are on their list, what happens to those children?
Yeah, so, and I will say this is a caveat that sometimes that happens because parents will only list 2 or 3 choices on their application. They are strongly encouraged to fill out the entirety of the application, to list 10 choices or 12 choices in the school. But sometimes they don't. Like sometimes they enter just a couple of choices. Regardless of if families do enter the full slate of choices, then the number of families that don't receive an offer is actually quite small. But then what happens is that an offer is made to some school. Now, in middle school, since all kids have access to their zone school, if the zone school was not listed on the original list of schools, then the zone school becomes the default. So that's the way it works for middle school. Parents can they also remain on the wait list for all of the schools that were on there. And this is where it gets like really complicated. Your eyes might start bleeding. But my kids went through the high school process, not that long ago, and, I like kind of watched all of this happen. Your child remains on the wait list for all of the schools, that are, that were under, or your child also remains on the wait list. If you did receive an offer, say if you received like your seventh offer, your child remains on the wait list for all schools 1 through 6, automatically is placed on the wait list for those schools. And then when and if a seat might become available for a higher ranked school and your number comes up, then you can take that offer as well. Or you can choose to just remain in the school which your iteration request.
How will the process is the wait list? Like, could you transfer in late September or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it actually continues. I'm not quite sure on the date that they have set for this coming year, but that wait list process will continue through September of this year.
How do you find out where you're going? Is that okay?
Sure.
How do you find out where you're going, which is your zone school? And secondly, supposedly, well, the zones, I love my zone school. You have to go through the whole process, so.
No, you could just list your own school and we go. Yeah.
So how do you find out?
The easiest way is to go to the Department of Education website, and if there's a button that says find my school, and you put your home address in, and then hit by the.
Used to be Baruch. It's on school.
Let me find.
But yes, I'm Baruch, but that could have been.
So
Remember that, the people are building.
there are still people zoned for Baruch and community board one.
Yeah, maybe not all, right?
No, it was east of Church Street. And the reason was that if you lived, especially in Lower Battery Park City, and our zone school was Baruch, that's 2 trains and a long walk. And it became a really big hardship because in 6th grade, a parent is often going with the child. And if there's other children in the family, it can be incredibly difficult. So when 75 Morton opened, we lobbied to have at least the west side of this neighborhood zoned for it so they could go up the 1. And it worked out. And we were able to get that west of Church Street. So, but if you live on Broadway or over in the Seaport, you're still zoned for Baruch.
That's right.
Because it's faster for you to get to Baruch. In fact, it would be great if we had, there are many people that would love a zoned high school still in this city, because what's happening to the kids who don't get a choice, we had some sent to, Coney Island and, Queens, and some of them were really difficult, even though the kids are older. It's still a hardship. You lose 2 hours of your day,
Sure.
and the effect on studies and sports is significant. So that's one of the things we had in our resolution. I don't want to bore Kelly too much with the high school questions, but it will be a question for the superintendent. What we might be able to do about that, because I still am getting a lot of complaints. But I think that middle school has done a great job of placing people within a manageable district. I think that the zone system is a great one. It's a great catch. And I love that you have offered this accelerated program, that you're rolling them out at those schools first. I think that's probably a great place to do that. That was our complaint from some of those families that didn't get what they wanted. So that's amazing news. And I have one other question. Are you done with your questions, Rosa? No, you have more. No, I'll ask mine last.
I have 2 more, well, no, 3 more. So one was a question which, following up on the whole middle school application lotteries question, are you able to answer the high school version of what changes when you get to high school? I mean, I'm obviously very far from that, but I know that a lot of other families would be interested in that.
I'm not as much interested in the high school process, although I will say that the big factor that is different is that there are no zoned high schools in Manhattan.
Why do we not have any zoned high schools in Manhattan?
I don't know, but I think we should have a zoned high school in Manhattan.
Well, okay, how do we get a zoned high school in Manhattan?
It's the chancellor.
I mean, this is a conversation that I have been having, and I don't think that the city is opposed to it, and I don't think that the high school superintendent is necessarily opposed to it either.
Well, so, but when you say that we don't have a zone high school in Manhattan, does that imply that we do have zone high schools in other areas?
Yes,
Suburbs.
yeah. Well,
So do all of the other boroughs have zone
Yes.
high schools? So then we are the.
I don't know that everybody, I should make a quick caveat to this, which is there's a difference between zoned and priority, right? There are several private schools outside of Manhattan that are either have a zone or have a borough priority. There aren't any zone schools in Manhattan. There are a couple of schools that do have priority for
What's the difference?
zoned is guaranteed admission.
And priority is,
Not,
Not just like a little asterisk added to your name.
They also have groupings, academic groupings for high school. So you don't have this catch of a district, right? So it's citywide, but you do have academic levels. And they accept a certain amount at each level in each school. And so it's a lottery process that ensures both academic, and they're working on, fully diverse, like racial, academic, all kinds of diversity in all kinds of areas. It's obviously an imperfect measure. And oftentimes what happened is that people would be sent when they didn't get what they wanted, given the fact that there's no zone school, like the kids were caught by Wagner or by Baruch, they'd be caught by Coney Island. Like there wasn't, all the schools in Manhattan were full, there isn't a zone school. They actually dropped the priority. We did have a bunch of priority schools at D2. We had Lab High School, had a D2 priority. Eleanor Roosevelt had a D2 priority. Which actually wasn't fair because the other districts in New York did not have priorities. If you went to District 3 or District 1, they didn't have one, but District 2 had them all. And then the icing on the cake, which was actually the most legitimate that I was part of, was Millennium, because Millennium was built with community board funds. And it was in response to September 11th. There were no high schools down here that were the boutique size schools. We had Murray Bertram, but we didn't have a choice school down here. If you look across the city, you have small boutique size choice high schools like, like Lab and Elro, and you could go all over. We didn't have one. And so Bill and Melinda Gates gave some money, Community Board One gave some money, I think LMDC gave some money, and Millennium was born. And they had a priority for kids below Houston Street. Very unusual setup. But I think you have to understand the way it was born and how it was built to really understand why they had that priority. Since then, when these high school admissions changed to try to assuage some of the problems we had with the lack of diversity, they released that priority from Millennium. And so now there are no priorities in Manhattan anymore for any school. As Kelly said, like Murrow in Brooklyn, I think is a priority school. The boroughs still have them, and I don't think that's fair. And I do think that now that we have some success, and the things that we were addressing as huge problems, and now maybe we can go to the next level and deal with the zone school and deal with some of the admissions process failures.
is this a change in priorities, Joan? Is it a DOE call or is it a city council legislation?
Interestingly, it was de Blasio. Not everybody agreed. It was pretty intense, actually, for a certain period of time, as Kelly probably recalls. And I don't think it was done well, to be perfect. I mean, this is me speaking as a parent, not as the chair. But I think that when I say that, it was done quickly. And there are very few things done well that are done that quickly. And they didn't have time to orient the parents to schools outside of their 6. You know, we were in Manhattan looking at, we wanted to make our lives easy, as I'm sure the families in Brooklyn and Queens did. And you apply to schools that you know, your friends know, and there you are with, you know, we went as far as, you know, Upper East Side, but we didn't know any schools like, and I didn't even know Murrow until my kids were already in high school. I'd never heard of it. It's a great school. But my world didn't go there. And so if there would have been a high school fair, for instance, where we could have gotten to know some of the schools, I think the parents would have been way more on board. But then there's still the geography of it and the long commutes. And I think that's now becoming the issue for everybody as they move into the second phase of that whole situation. So that'll be my question for the high school superintendent, but
We need to get that.
I don't want to
Sorry.
go into the, no, just to follow up on your question also though, is the high school process is like, there are so many different facets to it that I do think that an expert in it, what I do not claim to be, would probably be.
Okay, then the other question I have is very specific to PS 150. And the sort of learning curve that we had with the SEA, and you were involved in that with us. It was incredibly frustrating and continues frankly to be incredibly frustrating. Why do we not have principals in schools that are integrated into the process early on when a school building is being built, and teachers, since they are literally the end user? The SEA's job is to actually just deliver the school. Awesome, great, on time, on budget, wonderful. The people who have to use it every day for all the years after they deliver the school are the school. Why are they not part of that process? That seems like a really basic problem to me. And I have spoken with principals at schools that have been newly opened, not just our school, and they have all said the same thing. They have been outfitted with things that they did not need, and yet they are legally not able to get rid of, which means in New York City, where each square foot costs like $1,000, there are many square feet sitting with unused equipment, unusable equipment, and that seems shameful. Number two, there's buildings that aren't considered properly because they didn't take into consideration the end user's opinion of how schools function well. And so why is there that total lack of conversation and consultation so that we can make schools that actually work?
I don't know exactly. To be honest with you. The contributions that some principals have been mostly minimal, pretty minimal. When I moved into the new building, I had a few things that I was able to change. And thankfully, it was great to do that. But my assumption, I don't know enough about purchasing and contracts and all of that to be able to give a great answer to it.
Our principal was homeless essentially and had to keep working, so he parked himself in the park across the street from the school building because he had nowhere else to go to be able to get stuff done, but because they wouldn't let him in, it seemed like really sort
Look
of.
at the project of PS 234, that's scaffolding around
Yeah.
PS 234 for 4 years. And then
The
look at
current
the,
number?
yeah, and then look at the last name, it's called the School Construction Authority. It's not part of the Department of Education, it's a separate entity.
So we need to have them.
I think this is a longer discussion, but we should
Okay,
really.
then my last question. Federal funding cliff is, I'm a little concerned about that, and what are we doing at the DOE to prepare for that inevitability instead of getting to that point and going, ooh, we're falling off the cliff now.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the city council approved a budget that set aside some funds to try to ensure a softer landing. But there are a bunch of things that are coming online that I think will affect, school funding, including the class size reduction bill is going to be an interesting one.
That had no
As well.
funding attached to it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's 20 years.
So somebody failed math.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's right now there's, not concern for next year. And they think that but they know that the city knows that the year after, if that plan goes into effect as is, we'll need to make some changes. So,
Thank you very much.
yeah, sorry, I don't have more details.
That's sort of, my last question, is sort of tied together with that as well. And coming out of the pandemic, we had a mental health crisis with our children. Some of them are still working themselves out of it. And at a time where we need more school-based counselors, it seems like the budget is being kicked out. The other thing we need is in our CTT classes, you have, the class sizes are so large that when you have 35 kids and you have 12 of them that are special needs kids, there's a lot of variety of disabilities. There's nonverbal and there's verbal, and they're very, very different. And if you only have one teacher in a class who's trying to address both dyslexia and Asperger's, that's a completely different service. And then if you have the rest of the class in gen ed and you only have two people, one of which the special ed teachers, they weren't even able to afford those that had degrees and things like Orton Gilliam and required degrees to be able to teach a dyslexic child. So I know this spurred some of the discussions about possibly building a freestanding school over in the village, which we're still talking about, which would be an amazing idea. But I'm very concerned and would love to hear if there are any discussions at the DOE how to address both mental health and learning disabilities coming up in terms of initiatives that they might be looking at coming up.
Yeah. It is absolutely a priority for sure. I think that the chancellor's big plan that was, there were a couple of things. During the pandemic, the administration then ensured that there was a social worker in every single school. Middle school, there was a social worker in place. There are guidance counselors in all of our schools, thankfully. But the ratios, we really could use half of what the current ratio is. I think that, that role of the guidance counselor is to help as many kids as possible in the school and make sure that the schools are working with community-based organizations to provide more in-depth services to kids and to their families. The big initiative that the chancellor rolled out was Project Pivot, which is continuing. And not all schools were eligible for Project Pivot funds. Project Pivot was often talked about just in terms of, kids who were getting in trouble or kids who were having dealing with dangerous situations on the way home from school. But several of our schools received Project Pivot funds. And I will say that those funds have been put to really good use. Clubs for kids. There are clubs that are groups that have come in that are doing plays with kids, a podcast project, something. They have expanded some after-school programs. They are doing some school-based work around like healing circles and conflict resolution. So we hope that those funds continue to come and expand so that we can do more of that. But we also need to train our people really well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any other questions
Online? Anybody?
online? Anyone? Let's see the hands. So this will help. Kelly, I can't thank you enough for all the time you gave us
Sure.
tonight. Thank you
All the work you do.
so much.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
These are so,
Thank
it's so
you.
helpful.
Thank you.
And we'll probably call you again sometime.
Welcome.
It was incredibly helpful. And I'll make sure and keep in touch.
Yes, please read them. Thank you.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of the summer too.
No. I'll do something.
Take care.
Bye, thanks again.
Bye. Thank you.
Not to a different kind of budget talk. We've got to lay out our requests. Is it your first grade?
Those were last year, and those were the responses from the agencies. We're really not looking for any input from anybody right now. We just want you to observe them. We can, look at them and see if there's anything you want to change in September, and then do it again.
Okay,
Let us know in September
I got it.
if this is good, and if you want us to add things, we'll tell the agency to follow.
okay, great. Did everybody get a chance to have a look at it?
You could share.
Yeah, I want we're not giving specifics now, right?
Yes,
Let's-
sir. We're not giving it.
Okay, but I would also like to just inform the committee that Spruce Street School does not have enough funding to accommodate all of its students in middle school. So that would need to be on the list. And then, of course, the funding has not been increased in 2 years. So we would ask that DYCD increase the dollar amounts per slots per child in after school. It's a very humble budget. And so those two things, Spruce doesn't have enough slots and all the slots don't have enough money.
This is after school only?
Only, yeah, that's all I deal with.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah, it's the way after school works is that you're giving a number of slots. And that is, and then they multiply that by a rate of $1,200 a year.
Okay,
And there's just not enough slots at most of the schools, but definitely not enough slots at Spruce.
When you say not enough slots, does that mean that there aren't enough?
We're gonna
students?
I'm talking to the PTA, we're gonna turn kids away.
Oh,
Yeah, we can't, or we could, because the ratios is Department of Health ratios. And you have to have a certain amount of staff. We lost $35,000 last year there. But we can't keep doing that every year. So but we have asked DYCD, the back end, I think from the community standpoint, it would be great to just advocate for those things. But on the back end, which I'm not getting a response to, I asked them to transfer slots from schools that have excess. Morton, for example, has a reduction in the amount of kids that are going there. So we could take those slots and move them over to Spruce. And I'm talking to PTA to advocate for that too. So it wouldn't hurt, I think, at some point in the next meeting, if I don't get anywhere by September, that we put together a resolution specifically for this issue.
okay.
But it's also good to be because we're just overwhelmed. People need after school. They go, middle school kids need after school, Yeah.
All right, that's helpful.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you listening to that.
Absolutely. I don't think they,
Because we're not meeting in August, right?
no.
And this is July, if I
Yeah.
recall correctly. If I can remember.
So the budget requests go in October, so September you'll review it
Yeah,
again and then give comments,
maybe they'll give
etc.
us one.
So this in as to their
yeah,
response.
some of this isn't actually true.
When you draft it, can someone call me? Who's going to draft our committee's recommendations? Because it comes to the committee for a draft,
It
right?
is true.
Yeah, so let me know so I could,
Yeah,
yeah.
Rosa to help me.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, let me know and I could just put some typing in.
For sure. I am a little concerned as I look at the responses. They aren't totally accurate, so I'm just going to go on
Yeah.
the record for that in case anybody's looking at this thinking that actually happened. Some of these things, like the MetroCard pass that we had, was not funded. They did add one ride a week, but we want to get kids to sports events and home, not just to the event.
Yeah.
My daughter was going to 165th Street to
We
run,
didn't have any money for
and
home.
after dark, she was supposed to get home on her own. And, yeah, and so there was this unfortunate thing that it ended up, the MTA wasn't getting their money either way, let's just put it that way, because the kids would just jump the turnstile. She
Yeah,
would
you
just
can
come
say
and
what you
get
want about the New York City Police Department, but when our kids come home late, we just go right up to the officer and they let them in.
them. Yeah.
So yeah.
That way. We
Yeah,
should do-
I would rather not do it that way, but the police have been very cooperative on that. They see a bunch of kids, then they let it in.
They're in the station, Bob, but if
Yeah,
they're
well, if
not,
they're not in the station, we just go right through.
yeah, and they're going in the side doors, and I just.
No, you're right,
There's a better way to do
Oh,
it.
there's definitely a better way.
So, it's also not good modeling for our kids to feel like they're jumping a
Well,
turnstile,
they're not jumping,
whatever. So,
we run a car.
yeah, yeah.
You can go first.
I just have a question.
How many, like on a pass, the Metro card, how many passes do the students get
They now get 3,
per day?
yes.
Okay. So this should be 4.
It should be 4,
For after school.
yes.
Again, somebody failed math. What?
Yeah, okay.
Should also be the weekends, because some kids.
It's money,
don't have
yes.
Sports we
Yes.
ask for.
We have a lot of Saturday games.
Right.
Practice and
You know
games.
why?
I'm gonna relate something from the prehistoric era when I was a kid. When kids went to 7th grade, you got a bus pass.
Yes.
It's also good on the subway. And it was like a rite of passage because you had your pass.
You do it every
could travel the whole system free anytime, and your parents would let you out to go on wherever you could. So kids would go all over the city, I grew up in Brooklyn, New Marlboro. And we'd go to Prospect Park, we'd go to, into Manhattan, all kinds of things. Most of our parents would allow. I mean, that would be a great thing to revive, have all the kids have a free Metro card. I mean, they don't have Metro cards anymore now.
But you know what, on the Omni Pass, it actually says everywhere on the subway that if you use a certain number of swipes, then all the other swipes are free. So why would we restrict it for children?
Children should have a.
And not
What's it on?
restrict it for adults? That's.
Well, it's a new- somebody has a-
It's the new card.
We have to pay for it.
Yeah.
People don't realize that it's an equity issue, transportation is in the city. And, honestly, it should be free for everyone, but it's like, because it's, your access to job, it's an access to education.
It is an equity issue.
It's
I'm
a-
glad you brought that up.
Yes.
And
We have a student here, so why don't you give us your experience?
All right,
You know?
well, here's my Metro cards.
From the school, right? From the school?
For a summer program.
Yeah.
I usually get it
Yeah.
for my school also.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 rides,
So how many do you get a day in the summer?
also 3.
Oh, you do get 3, that's good.
It's really convenient.
And will it not let you through if you want to do the 4th one?
No, after 3 rides, you can't use
It
it.
says it exceeded the day.
Is there a limit on time, what time of the day you could use it?
I think I've ever had that problem.
It's to 8 PM.
I'm gonna give you the flip side of it. There's somebody in some office somewhere saying, I don't want kids traveling on the subway, but,
They didn't have that.
rec
fair
would have
fare,
been.
right, which
there's
is-
somebody saying that, and,
Yeah.
Why would
I know it's an equity issue, but
Weekends
they
to
just
get-
don't want hordes of kids just
Yeah.
on subways for
You don't
nothing
want
to
to
do.
give free beer, give them half beer.
So don't- Well, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Yeah,
I mean, I think
The
that,
Games against the cards, to make sure they weren't just taking a subway to go to party on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And he would hand them a card for the event.
for like
One
one,
ride.
well,
like,
They couldn't get back.
we done?
And that was my big thing. It's like, often far reaches of the city. It's usually Randall's Island or.
Fish, we done? Because I'm starving. I know I'm a big man, you gotta pay.
So just in, come back.
Lucy gotta get home.
On here, which is gonna be my,
Yeah.
Mental health, forget it.
we're gonna be doing.
Trinity Church has an RFP out
Yes.
for mental health counseling. We applied. I don't know if we'll get it, but they put, good for Trinity Church.
Well, they currently have something where, they have a free certain small amount of sessions available to people in need. They're amazing.
Yeah. They've always had that counseling center. So now they're putting out a request, for kids in schools and stuff like that. Good for
So
them.
maybe we'll make a call and try to beef this up a
I
little.
can't tell you, I could just tell you, not you parents, but there's a lot of parents acting out in my after-school programs, a lot.
Acting out, how so?
You know what acting out means?
Well,
They're bizarre, they're having mental health issues, and they take it out on the administration, they take it out on my staff. There are probably about 3 parents in every program that we don't know what to do with, because they are, and then there's also the parents fighting with each other, which happens at Summer Rising, calling the police on each other. It's a lot, there's no intervention, And the schools can't intervene either. They don't intervene either during the day. It always comes back to us when the parents come to pick the kids up in after school, and the parents are acting out. They're just impossible. And we try to treat them as dignified people, but they are obviously having huge mental health issues. And I don't know what the reason is. It's for people smarter than me. But all I know is my staff are fearful. And we don't have the funding to hire an interventionist. Russ does most of it for us. And we sit with the parent, and it takes hours to work this shit out. It takes hours of meetings, and school social workers or staff, you gotta bring the two parents together, you gotta bring the kid together, you gotta go with the principal, it's a
I
serious.
think there was a mechanism with the DOE where they had people like satellite and coming to do interventions when there were situations like this in the summer.
I don't
They had
think,
nothing.
no, I've never seen anything like that in after school or during the summer, that they may say, but I asked Terry, my beloved Terry, when they said they were bringing in 75 immigrant children, is anyone giving us a social worker? I'm a social worker, Lucy can tell you. And I have a social worker in the school during the day. Nothing. Poor Terry and me. Poor Terry and Bobby. Isn't that so, Terry and Bobby McGee? So there's nothing, only Elisa, the nurse at 276, has to sometimes become a social worker. You know, we bring the parents into the nurse. You're not wrong.
So, I mean, yeah.
It's not gonna be, you might get some lip service, but it's not, it's tough. It's tough. Dana, I know at 234 was having some issues with some parents. I don't know about Nico, he has a smaller footprint. I know Nancy and all the principals.
Well, they're supposed to have support for that, so I'm glad.
They have more support than us, that's for sure. What? I'm talking about after school too. I mean, we had to, every week, we file what's known as a report from the DOE. Every week we will file a report.
All right, I am gonna let our friends go that are dialed in with us. Thank you.
Thank you for
everybody.
dialing in. But don't worry.
We'll see you.
Wait.
Night.
Have a wonderful summer, everyone.
Thank you, Trish. It's always good to see you.